I wanted to do this video to look at this cop versus ACORN incident in Florida from a different angle. This was sent to me by email from a listener, and he said, man, you got to check this out. What do you think about this? The name of the video is Cop Tricked into Shooting by Sound Weapon System Blamed on ACORN. I'm not going to be making any assertions here, but we are going to be asking some questions. The name of the YouTube channel is Look Out for Charlie. And Charlie contends, and this is a statement, guys, cops tricked into shooting by sound weapon system. This is a statement of fact. He doesn't say he believes this is what happened. He is saying that he knows this is what happened. When we initially covered this story, we questioned the ACORN story. We're even going to go over some of this today. We even said that when you review the body cam footage, frame by frame, during the point where he said that he heard the weapon fire and that he believed that he was shot, we went frame by frame of this object dropping onto the hood, the top of the vehicle, and then bouncing off. I put a circle around it. We're going to do it right now. And I made the statement that this could be CGI. We could be completely played right here. So it could be that this was a weapon of war launched against this guy, but I'm not making any definitive conclusion because I don't see how I could possibly do that and be honest. So we're going to go over some of this guy's material, and I'm going to show you this guy's assertion, and then I'm just going to leave it up to you. You guys decide. Now, the question is for me, is there such a thing, before we even get into this guy's video, the question for me is there such a thing as an acoustic weapon? And if you look over the internet, it doesn't take you maybe 3 minutes to find this. There is something called an acoustic weapon. It's also known as long-range acoustic devices and sound cannons. And these sound cannons, according to the reports that I've read that come out of the U.S. military that were created back in 2004, and some of these early crowd control acoustic weapons were actually created in the 1990s, but it was really kind of streamlined by the U.S. and Iraq in 2004. But from what I've read, and this is one of them, and I'm going to show you an example before we get into this guy's video. It has a range of 8,900 meters. Now, that is a long way. 8,900 meters is approximately 29,000 feet. 29,000 feet is about the size of Mount Everest. And 29,000 feet is about 5.5 to 6 miles. And what they say they can do is take these acoustic sound waves, these acoustic projections, and project them out in such a narrow band that in a crowd of people, they can cause just 1 or 2 people to hear this. Now, the last time I heard about this was the technology that was installed in the Sphere in Las Vegas. I don't have a video pulled up here, but there's this massive structure that took like $2.4 billion to build. It's got LEDs all over it. It's basically this, it's super eye-catching because it's got these LED screens on the outside of this big globe. On the inside, they have like 190,000 acoustic devices that I've heard, can pinpoint sound waves with such accuracy that you can actually select in your seat your language to listen to whatever the event is, and it will acoustically pipe into your ears, not wearing headphones. It can acoustically put into your section, into your seat, the event in your language. While the person next to you, say, is listening to it in English, you could be listening to it in Russian or Swahili or whatever. So they claim that they have this kind of technology, and I'm going to show you an example of this technology in use. This right here this is just a DIY system right here. This is not a military grade sound acoustic projection system. This comes from the channel, and we're just going to watch a little bit of this. The channel is Tech Ingredients, and he has a display. He brings these people out from this local business, and he subjects them to this sound wave thing that he created, not the military, him. So let's listen to some of this before we get into this guy's video.
we've decided to take our last project out in the field for a demonstration. This is a DIY LRAD, which stands for Long Range Acoustic Device. It was a term that was coined by a company that's now called Genesis, and there's a competing company called Hyperspike that makes a similar device. Basically, it's a super powerful long-range acoustic projector.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a long range, according to this one thing that we saw, 8,900 meters or 29,000 feet or about 5.5 miles. It's a long range acoustic projector. And the reason we're going over this is because the guy that owns the video, that owns the channel that produced the video that we're about to see, is not just suggesting, he is asserting definitively that what you're seeing here is a long range acoustic projector being projected into the ears of Officer Hernandez where nobody else can hear it, and it wasn't an acorn that fell on the top of the cruiser that caused him to act the way he did. It was a long range acoustic projector. But I want you to see how it actually works.
Range acoustic device. What we've decided to do is bring this out in the field and get a couple of volunteers from local.
Okay, so he gets these volunteers together and then he turns this machine on. But when he turns this machine on, unlike what we're about to see asserted by this guy with his YouTube channel, you're going to actually hear the sound waves going through the air as they hear it. He really cranks it up here in a second. Okay, so he projects that sound to them and it's amplified in their ears. And it reminded me, I'm not going to watch any more of this, but it reminded me of the active denial system, this non-lethal crowd dispersion device called the active denial system that the military uses. Watch how this works. This actually works on you physically, whereas the acoustic device works on you physically, but only in an audio way. This right here inflicts heat and pain, or it uses 5GeE technology to create this heat sensation that is used to disperse crowds, they say.
Marines and several other DoD representatives had quite the heated demonstration at Quantico, Virginia from the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate.
This is a military area. Move away from the perimeter. I say again, this is a military area. Move away from the perimeter.
Let me show you the demonstration of that. Unless these people are actors and just pretending like they felt heat, you'll see where they feel heat right here. Watch.
Harm.
It only penetrates 1/64 of an inch of your skin.
1/64 of an inch of your skin, it says. This guy is operating it from inside of this piece of equipment, and we're going to take a look at some people reacting to it right here.
Many of the guests volunteered to test out its effectiveness and safety, including the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and Assistant Secretary of the Navy. Most described it as feeling like a...
Man, I would not trust that. Oh, yeah, use me as a test subject. What could possibly go wrong? Now, this was done 11 years ago. This is an 11-year-old video. I wonder if these people that this test was introduced onto, wonder if they're still alive. I don't know. Let's get into this video. So I just said all that to say, yes, there is something called an acoustic long-range device or a sound cannon that could be narrowly introduced into the ears of one person while the person next to him doesn't hear it, because this will allay one of the questions. And one of the questions I had was, then why didn't the other cop hear it? Why did the other cop act surprised? And the answer would be because this acoustic wave weapon can be directed at just one individual. And in this case, this guy claims it was Officer Hernandez. And when I say this guy, I mean Look Out for Charlie, the YouTube channel called Look Out for Charlie. And I'll leave all the links in the description below for you. So watch this.
I cannot believe that there are people online that believe this and say, this dumb cop believed this. He thought this because he was badly trained or whatever. Come on, man. Come on, dude. This is a war. These are weapons of war. As Woody Norris said, you can put fake troop movements in places. And his is a Mickey Mouse setup. This can put sound anywhere. Anywhere. For a group of people or one person to hear it. In the case that we're going to get into, one person heard it. That's it. The story reads that a Florida deputy mistakes a falling acorn for a gunshot and fires into patrol car with black man inside. Dude, really? You really believe that someone who has been trained and has heard firearms a million times believed that a falling acorn was a gunshot?
I don't know what to believe. I think it's a good question, and it's always good to question everything. I question every official story. When the cops say it, when mainstream media says it, when the police department come out and they put down a bulletin and then introduce an official story or a narrative or a storyline that they want the public to believe in, I don't buy it, okay? And just like I don't buy that, I also don't buy what this guy says unless I apply questions and I come to the conclusion myself that this is indeed what it is. And that's the way we should all be. You should question everything that I say. You should question everything that this guy says. You should question definitely what the government and police official story is and what the fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird MK Ultra media story is, because they are known to lie to you. Okay, so let's listen. Now, the first thing I thought was, take a look at this tree. Is that an oak tree? Because I've seen a lot of oak trees in my life, and that right there does not look like an oak tree. I don't know if you can see the whole top of that tree, but this is the body cam view of this tree. We're going to look at another angle of the tree and see how much this branch right here is actually hanging over, and the odds that there would be an acorn that would drop at that exact moment is kind of strange to me as well. But all you people who know about trees and plants and stuff, is that really an oak tree? I know one thing that oak trees are characteristic for that you don't see on almost any other tree. They grow these clumps of mistletoe, and I think and mistletoe is like this fungus or this parasite that gets on the branches and starts sucking the life out of that branch. But this looks like it might be, but that does not look like an oak tree to me. And the only tree that can drop an acorn is an oak tree, as far as I know. Or is there another tree that can drop an acorn?
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
All right, so that's where this guy freaks out. All right, and we're going to go over this real quick. I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to show you just real quick. Let me zoom in on this. And I'm going to pull it over here so we can look at it. I know I've done this before, but it kind of bears repeating. All right, so this right here is what the police department says was the acorn, and it does look like an acorn. Is it possible that this body cam was intercepted and there was some crafty editing that took place and somebody inserted an acorn into the frames? Yeah, it's possible, but why would they do that? I mean, did they have it out for Hernandez? Were they trying to get rid of him from the department? Were they trying to make him look like he was going crazy and forcing him to resign? Was he a whistleblower in the department or something? So I would have to understand what the motive would be for them to go through this much trouble to not only CGI an acorn onto police body cam footage, but to also have somebody hiding somewhere with an acoustic wave projector and inserting in a narrow band some frequency that made him think that guns were firing. So let me show you let me trace this acorn falling just frame by frame. There it goes down there. There it is right there. There it is. It's just bouncing up, supposedly bouncing up. And that right there is what the police department says that Hernandez heard, which caused him to believe that he was not only being fired at, but that he got hit. Because that's what he said. He said, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired, and I'm hit. So let's continue on with this guy's video and his assertion.
You've got to be out of your goddamn mind to believe that. But good try with the whole acorn thing. because I got into this, and I got into the audio, and I'm going to show you exactly what is going on. The cop was tricked, and I have begged law enforcement officers, LEOs, to just send me audio of them sleeping. They don't even need to send me their name. Nothing. Just audio of them sleeping to see what is going on with them at night.
That was bizarre to me. Why would you beg law enforcement officers or the high chain of command law enforcement officers to give you audio of their cops sleeping? And what cop would do that? Oh, here's a bunch of audio of our cops sleeping. Here's body cam, here's dash cam. I don't understand that. Why would you make that? How would you even know to make that kind of request? And why would you make that kind of request? That was kind of weird.
Because it's happening to everybody. This type of shit is happening everywhere and to everybody.
That's another definitive assertion that this type of thing, this acoustic wave projection sound weapons technology, is happening to everybody, everywhere, all the time. I don't know how you can make that kind of assertion.
So he's fooled by an ACORN and starts shooting inside a patrol car with the guy in the back who has clearly already been frisked. It makes no sense, but he was fooled into believing it. Let's watch the original video. Now, this is where he's walking back to his patrol car. I'm going to play it a couple times.
Now stay tuned, because he is going to deliver to us audio that actually sounds like different audio from the original body cam footage that was released on the internet. He's going to show us body cam footage with an overlay of a wave file that does sound like gunshots. And I got questions about that too. So stay tuned. It's going to get interesting here.
You hear nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because that's not the way this works, unless it's meant for everyone to hear, like the sounds heard around the world, or if they want people to hear troop movements or something like that, right? So this is the original video with the original audio. Let's check it out. Shots fired! Shots fired! There was nothing there, not a sound.
That's not true. That's not true. We backed it up and we went over it 3 times. You can actually hear something, and it coincided with CGI or the ACORN or whatever. It coincided with that object appearing to drop on the top of the patrol car. So you cannot say there was nothing. It even delivered a micro little bitty hairpin sound file. We went over that. If you want to take a look at it, I'll try to remember to include the link in the description.
Nothing. Let's listen to it again.
Did you hear it? You could hear it. Now, initially, I thought it was just the squeaking the belt as he was walking, and maybe he lifted his arm and, maybe hit the handcuff part of the little holster, or maybe he bumped his taser, but it did coincide with that thing appearing to drop on the top of the cruiser.
Listen to me, law enforcement. They are using you as much as they are using BLM and everybody else to create this civil war. And that is a cold, hard fact, and you need to realize it.
Now, we have often said on this channel that law enforcement agents and agencies are policy enforcers. The only reason that politics, which is the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, fear-mongering in order to get average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement, law enforcement agents act as the enforcement class for the political class. The political class can make whatever laws they want, and it will have no teeth unless it was initiated and enforced by the law enforcement class. So in a sense, yeah, they work hand in hand. They work against your rights and they work against your monetary interest because they're constantly stealing money from you through things like, traffic law and taking you to court and accusing you of crimes you didn't commit in various ways that they make money off of the public that they're supposed to be protecting and serving. But I don't know who he's saying they is. Maybe he's talking about the elites, talking about some grand scheme or whatever, which is also in play. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that this is not the case, that some kind of acoustic war machine was used against Hernandez, but I just don't see proof for it. And at the same time, I'm also not inclined to believe the official story. And at the same time, I also acknowledge that the story that this guy went this ballistic, literally ballistic, because he mag dumped how many times? How many times did he reload? Was it twice? How many times did his sergeant, dump into the vehicle and almost hit Jackson, who miraculously wasn't injured? It is bizarre that something so slight would cause him to react like this. It's weird. It's just the whole thing is weird.
Now, let's listen to the audio that I adjusted so that you can hear what was being sent into the area that he was in, his vicinity, which he would have heard with his ears because the sound is made generally right next to your ears. So let's get into that. This is when he is walking to the patrol car, right here, and you are going to hear some strange communication going on, and it's not coming through his radio. It is just there as he's walking to the car. Now, there's a gunshot before.
I don't know where he is getting this audio file. We're going to listen to what he says about it. He says he extracted it from a different frequency, but remember, there's only one recording device that we know of that you could get this from, and that is from the Axon body camera that was being worn by Officer Hernandez. So I don't know where this wave file comes from, and he doesn't explain it, but that's one of the major questions that I have.
Before he even catches on, he either heard it and was trying to figure out what was going on, or this one didn't catch his ears. But it is a gunshot. Let's listen to it. That is not in the original video.
Definitely not. Where did this come from? I need you to answer that question. Look out for Charlie.
Not the way you heard it or the video captured it. Now, here's another one, and this is where he screams, "Shots fired."
It sounds exactly the same and almost looks like it has the same wave file signature.
Multiple shots. And if you know how to do this like I do, or like the NSA does, you can pull this shit right out.
Okay, so he says that he has knowledge similar to the knowledge that NSA has to pull these wave files out of something, somewhere. And that right there just makes me scratch my head and go, man, I'm not picking up what you're laying down, man.
This was an audio weapon attack, and it made the cop attack the guy that was handcuffed in the back of the patrol car. Listen to it again. That's like 2 shots.
Or if this is all true, or it could have been just an echo off of the apartment complex that was to Hernandez's right as he was walking up to his vehicle.
And then he starts to shoot back.
Now look at the signatures of the wave files coming off of Hernandez's gun as he was firing back. They're not as crisp and they're not as loud as the supposed acoustic weapons warfare wave file.
Those are gunshots, not real gunshots, projected sound gunshots.
He's saying that as a statement. He's not saying this could be. He's saying this is what this is.
Period. What else are you going to tell me? That's an ACORN?
Well, what I would say is, how do we know that somebody didn't manipulate this WAV file and then try to sell us all on a bill of goods of an acoustic war machine?
The 2 ACORNs dropped that sound like gunshots. Give me a f***ing break. How stupid do you think people are, man? This has gone fucking Clown World 11, Clown World 14. It's off the charts, man. So let's check out the original video with...
I can't just sit here and say, oh yeah, it's obvious. That was an acoustic WAV file. That was an acoustic weapon, a military-grade acoustic weapon. It absolutely was. I can't say that. And I don't see how this guy or anybody else can say that. He's basically saying, isn't it as plain as the nose on your face? Now he overlays this... I don't know, for lack of a better word, tweaked. I think he uses the word tweaked. This tweaked WAV file over the Axon body cam file.
Here's where you're going to hear the weird communication. Then you're going to hear the gunshot. And then you're going to hear the second gunshot that he notices and starts screaming, shots fired. Let's check it out. There's the gunshot. Gunshot.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Now he had to resign because he was nuts, right?
Let me show you this different view that I was talking about of this tree. See that tree right there? So he's almost... Oh, wait. Can you guys see this? Let me move this right here. Look at that out of there. Can you see the tree? Let's see. Yeah. So you got this little piece of a branch up here that it does look like it's hanging over the vehicle, but can you imagine the odds? And I'm looking at this from the questioning the official story side, not just questioning the side of the acoustic war machine side. So what are the odds that there is actually an ACORN on this little sparse branch that's barely hanging over this vehicle, and it just happens to drop and fall and hit the very top of the vehicle as Hernandez is passing by? That's weird to me too.
Now he had to resign because he was nuts, right? That's basically what it came down to. They made up the ACORN story to cover their asses, and the people using these weapons to cause these civil wars are ecstatic that they came up with the ACORN theory to cover this shit. But let's listen again. You can hear the gunshots plainly. All you have to do is adjust the audio, just like the NSA does, to push the frequencies that you wouldn't normally hear up.
So you can do that with something. I don't know. I'm not an audio engineer. Can you actually adjust a set recording and grab things from other frequencies on one recording without the aid of another recording device? Is that possible? I don't know.
And that is what he is hearing. It's a sound weapon. This is a weapon of war. Wake the f*** up. Another definitive statement. This isn't, it might be what this is. It's a possibility. This is an option of what it could have been. He's saying this is absolutely what it is. You need to wake up. Man, god damn, dude. Gunshot. So he really did hear what he heard. No one else heard it, but he heard it. Did he hear the first one? I don't think so. But
why? Why wouldn't he have heard? I mean, if you were able to use your NSA sound devices and pull that out of the air, how did he hear the second one and not hear the first one? That's another question I have. You see, a lot of people will say, well, why didn't the sergeant hear it? And what he's contending is that this acoustic wave machine, this acoustic projector, only projected the sound in such a narrow band that only Hernandez heard it.
There's that first shot that gets by him.
What would be interesting is if is it such a narrow band that only Hernandez could hear it, or could Jackson have heard it in the back seat of the patrol cruiser?
But the second shot, that's the same sound, almost the same repeated sound, is right there to fuck with him again. Didn't hear it. Heard that one. And then he believes he's hit. There is something going on here.
I agree.
But look, I'm taking the cops' side in this case.
I would not do that. I would not do that. I would not take Hernandez's side in this case, because Hernandez, cops are, as we've seen, even Frontline did a video on this, and they've admitted that, hey, their number one goal is to go home safe at night. And they admit that they are trained to lie and engage in deceptive practices so that they could hoodwink the masses that they're supposed to be protecting and serving. So I would not be trusting Hernandez on this. I would not be trusting the police force on this. I would not be trusting anybody who's laying down the official story. And I got a hard time believing that this was an acoustic wave machine, because why are they pinpointing and targeting Hernandez? Is this just a trial run? Where was the acoustic wave machine set up? Because even though it has a long range of miles, was this set up on a drone in the sky somewhere? Can it work through cloud cover? Because this is a cloudy day. Did it come from one of the windows in the apartment complex? I just don't know.
Because they are being used just as much as everybody else is to cause division, to cause all this. And it's being used to pull shit like this. There are so many cases now where cops hear people yelling for help, people yelling for, hearing shots that didn't really happen, that weren't caught on the body cam later, but they heard them. This is what's going on. And it didn't take that much tweaking. I only worked on this for a couple hours. So let's listen to the...
So he did tweak the video, the original video, and he did work on it for a couple hours. Show us the process. I have what I think is healthy skepticism on what Look Out for Charlie is saying here. So I would just say, Charlie, if you see this video, show us your process. How did you actually do it? How do we know that those sounds weren't inserted by somebody else, by you? I don't know. I'm not making an accusation, but how do we know that this just isn't another wild goose chase? To me, it's just another example of cops lying, the department lying, the individual officer lying, coming up with an excuse to just unload. We've seen this time and time again. We saw it with Daniel Shaver. We saw it with Philando Castile. We saw it with James Boyd. We see it time and time and time again. And then when they have the opportunity to do it as right, and a mass amount of cops arrive on the scene, like 376 of them in Uvalde, they stand down and do nothing when they should have done everything possible to save the kids.
The original one. It's a sound weapon. It is a weapon of war, and it is being used everywhere. It is a vast signal that can put sound anywhere. Wake the up. God damn it, man. This is being used on everybody. It isn't just mental health and pre-crime policing. It is weaving its way into everything to cause division, to cause civil war, to cause confusion, to cause chaos.
Could be. I wouldn't doubt the military-industrial complex and the National Guard and local police and the sheriff's department from doing that. But how do you prove that that's what was done here? because what Look Out for Charlie is saying here is this is absolutely what it was. This was an acoustic weapon. This was a long-range acoustic device. This was a sound cannon, so to speak, and you need to wake the F up because this is what it was. Thus I have spoken.
You can clearly hear it in the audio. I mean, come on, man. And LEOs, you need to wake up to what is going on here. You're being used. And if something like this happens to you, think. I understand the high stress angle of it. This is a weapon of war. Just like they said in Leave the World Behind.
And then he plays this clip from some, I guess, Leave the World Behind, something out of Hollywood or whatever it was. I don't know who produced it. But I wanted to present that to you. I wanted to see what you guys had to say about this and just kind of leave it up for, some kind of, I don't know, let's have a conversation about it. I don't know what it was. I do know whatever it was, the reaction of Hernandez was absolutely just bizarre, very unique. We've seen cops be skittish before. We know cops are scaredy cats. Oh my God, they're fearing for their life at the turn of a head. It doesn't matter. They're at a traffic stop, fearing for their life. They walk up to a bicyclist in a fast food restaurant, fearing for their life. They're going to grab the taser. They're going to abuse somebody. So it's nothing new that a cop feared for his life. It's nothing new that they're skittish. This is a little different because a little plop on of an acorn, supposedly, that's debatable, from a tree went on the cruiser, and he freaked out and he started just mag dumping on this guy who is absolutely innocent, that he just got done patting down and arresting and putting in torture cuffs in the backseat of the car, locked up, not able to hurt anybody. It's just a weird reaction. And if you add into the mix this acoustic weapons technology, it makes it all that more weird. I don't buy what Look Out for Charlie is talking about, and I think I would advise against making an absolute statement this is what it is, because it reduces credibility when you cannot prove that. You can't prove that the audio wave that you produced on your video was not tampered with in some way. If you can prove that, I would like to see the proof. But this right here, I'm not a buyer. I'm not a buyer of that. So leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. I will put the link to Look Out for Charlie and these acoustic weapons and the links that I found to those and the active denial system in the description below. Please look them up, do your own research, come to your own conclusions. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab one of these hard-hitting shirts like All Guns Matter. Become a channel member, but more importantly, fight for your rights, know what your rights are, flex your rights, exercise your rights. If you don't exercise them, you will lose them. Yeah, I get it. Freedom is dangerous, but the only thing more dangerous is not having freedom. I will see you guys in the next video.